Security and Policy Initiatives.
To everyone, I, Sarang Nerkar, co-founder of SAPI, Security and Policy Initiatives, welcome you all to a webinar, a web discussion on a very interesting topic, that is Indocracy, a framework of democratic governance to optimize national security of India. This session is being brought to you with a very eminent speaker, Shri Jitendra Kumar Oja, who is a geopolitical strategic expert. And today's session will be chaired by a very eminent guest, that is Dr. Ajai Sahni, who is Executive Director of the Institute for Conflict Management. Today's session will be introduced to everyone by founder of SAPI, Shri Pradeep Gupta, who is a very established bureaucrat, former bureaucrat, and technocrat. Without any further ado, I would request Shri Pradeep Gupta, founder SAPI, to introduce the topic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sarang. At the outset, I welcome Dr. Ajai Sahni, renowned strategic affairs expert and chair of today's session. I welcome Honorable Member of Parliament, Shri Kalanidhi Saab. I welcome Professor Dinesh Avasthi, Vice Chancellor. Shri Jitendra Oja, well-known geopolitical strategic affairs expert and presenter of today's subject. Members of the media, some from the academia and various think tanks and industry. SAPI, as you all know, is a startup think tank set up in October 2021. And we have just been 10 months old. We are basically focusing on security and public policy areas with the special focus on the defense transfer of technology, improvement of border management, all related to security and public policy areas. We have been conducting a webinar. We have been publishing articles, blogs, and also we have a feature on our website, problem and solutions, wherein the patrons and the viewers of the SAPI website can present their problems, and the viewers can also suggest the solutions which we'll be putting up on the website, mainly connected to these areas. It has been the endeavor of SAPI to synergize the knowledge in this area and thus evolve a better security architecture for the country. Security, not only security, but public policy architecture for the country also. So this is the method through which SAPI has evolved. Until now, since October 2021, we have organized 6 webinars, ranging from basically the introductory webinar was there, wherein we introduced the subjects of border management and the transfer of technology. We had AI in defense applications as a force multiplier. We had a session on quantum computing and AI for semiconductor material design. We had a session for improvement of border management, and currently there is a session in progress wherein Colonel D'Souza is steering the self-reliance and transfer of technology, and he will be coming up with newer ideas and better concepts in this field. So this is all what the SAPI has been doing in this field. In pursuance of its objective, has taken up to organize this particular webinar of today, just to introduce the new concept of Indocracy, and Dr. Ajai Sahni will introduce the main subject. Thereafter, he will set the tone for today's discussion. So I'll not take much time and request the speakers to start the session. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for introducing this very interesting topic, sir. I will now request the chair of the session, Dr. Ajai Sahni, to give his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Nerkar. Thank you, Mr. Gupta. I'd like to thank SAPI for this opportunity to be part of this discussion. I think it's a very, very important issue that we are trying to address today. We are living perhaps in the relatively most unstable period of the last certainly 60 to 70 years in the post-World War era. This is a time when all equations of power globally are being challenged, are being undermined, are being pushed towards increasing disorders. At this point of time, to speak of India's national security is of critical importance. But more important, I think, in view of what Mr. Ojha is planning to present, is that we must stop speaking of India's national security within the old paradigms. There is far too much of transformation, far too much of threat. Certainly the proximate threat from China and Pakistan. Mr. Ojha has written on this subject for us in our journal Fault Lines, and I think I am going to take away a little bit of his material and presentation by speaking of the enormous and combined threat that focuses on India from China, from China and Pakistan, but also as a result of the dissolution of the global equilibrium, of the global order, of the relative stability that was provided over the last few decades, for a very brief period, by the global hegemon, so to speak, the single surviving superpower. There was, because of the unchallenged power of the United States and the dominance of the Western coalition, a certain stability to world affairs. That stability has very rapidly dissipated over the last 2 decades of, I think, strategic disaster after disaster for the West, self-inflicted by and large, inflicted by a hubris, by a complete lack of understanding of global issues. And I think we should move more and more towards understanding that our classical paradigm or context of response is now no longer of relevance, and that we need to engage in what Mr. Ojha rightly describes as a paradigm shift. I will allow him now to come in and give us his presentation, and perhaps then open the issues to a wider discussion. Thank you very much, and Mr. Ojha, we await your presentation.
Thank you very much for a very apt introduction to the topic, sir.